Hello, I'm James Talbot, and as the first master of the Worshipful Company of Entrepreneurs, it is my great privilege to welcome you here to the 8th Raleigh Lecture.
The great thing about the Raleigh Lecture is that it's aimed at students in years 12 and 13. It started back in 2018 when our past master Peter Hewitt, who is actually a descendant of Sir Walter Raleigh, launched the first Raleigh Lecture to talk about subjects that were of interest to the students in the last part of their education at school, but also those that related to business and entrepreneurship and the sort of things that we as a company are promoting and trying to further. So that's the main purpose of today. We've chosen the theme of space today for the second year because we feel there's much more to explore from what we do with data from space and how it interacts with our life on Earth, our society, our business opportunities, and what we do with the data, how it impacts us and how it helps us to navigate through our interesting geopolitical world at the moment. It's very important we think that students are aware of the opportunities that this offers them, and so they can make some career choices that are based on the information we're able to help them to discover. So the idea is very much to try and inspire young minds. These are the sort of things that we think you should be considering when you're looking at the next stage in your life, whether you go to university, and even if you don't start your own business as an entrepreneur, you can go to another company with an entrepreneurial mindset, problem solving, identifying opportunities, team building, the sort of things that we as entrepreneurs have become accustomed to because that's what we do.
At the Worshipful Company of Entrepreneurs, we are a group of people who've started our own businesses. We have a lot around fellowship and around philanthropy. What does that mean? We help people with their businesses as they start. Many students, many people from incubators, from business schools. We knock the rough edges off them. Perhaps that's as entrepreneurs, we put the rough edges on them and help them move forward.
The day starts with the students arriving here at Drapers Hall, a magnificent livery hall in the City of London. We then have a first lecture from a gentleman called Steve Thornber, who is a retired Air Vice Marshal, who's going to talk about the way we get data from space, satellites in space, to help with our defence. Some very interesting stories to tell about that. We're then going to be hearing from Mr. Mark Huxley, who's standing in for Itamar Zabari, who's his company Astrotech is engaged in providing data that will help us to predict earthquakes 2 weeks in advance, rather than 20 seconds in advance, which is as much notice as we get now. So this is absolutely groundbreaking. Many parts of the world are subject to earthquakes and suffer greatly when they occur. The third one is from Martin Soltau, who runs a business called Space Solar. This is about getting power from space, which is a fascinating idea. It sounds like black magic or science fiction, but in fact it's deliverable, and they're progressing towards doing that for real in 5 years using UK technology, which is fascinating for us. And finally, we're going to hear from the chief meteorologist at the UK Meteorological Centre, the Met Office, and he'll be talking to us about how predicting weather in advance helps us to avoid natural disasters. We've seen recently the devastating effect of floods in Spain, fires in California, and just generally weather beating us up in a way that causes damage and upset and disrupts society and also hampers business.
To have the quality of speakers we had today was really something. I think quite possible. I mean, every year it gets better and better, but this year was possibly the very best year that we've had in terms of our speakers. And just that whole understanding and bring to life for the students that point that space and space data affects everything. It's this transdisciplinary thing. So we have the opportunity for young people, no matter what their area of interest is, that there's a space for them to be involved in this whole area of what we're talking about to get today. But also I think just the learning and the sort of, some of the stuff that you may have thought of perhaps was a little bit sort of James Bond, Secret Service sort of stuff, and just to understand that the way that technology has now moved on and that we're in a position that that very same information that was really exclusively available to governments only has become something that's available to commercial businesses now, and that's where the entrepreneurial aspect of it comes through. So it is really just superb that the Worshipful Company of Entrepreneurs has been able to bring that information through and allow young people to see their role in the future. Absolutely superb number of work groups that we had today. It was wonderful to see the students all together sitting and defining the aspects that really resonated with them. So it was great to have our moderators, each of them from the Worshipful Company of Entrepreneurs, involved, and then to have the students working out what part they really wanted to pinpoint.
In my view, I think the reason why I should support the Raleigh Lecture is because it's got an inspirational effect on young minds. We think that's the important thing. It takes them out of their normal day-to-day school activity, presents them with a different set of thoughts, ideas, challenges, and an opportunity to interact with students from other schools, who they don't know. They'll be in groups with people they don't know, and they'll have to introduce themselves and engage and have a dialogue with people in a way that they may not be familiar with from their own schools. So we think it's a great opportunity to sort of spread their wings a little bit, get out into a different environment, react differently to a series of opportunities, and try and come over with some hard thoughts about what could happen next in their lives.
I would greatly encourage people to come and join the Worshipful Company of Entrepreneurs. First, because it is fun. Secondly, because you're mixing with similar-minded people who've been through the trials and tribulations and also the successes of starting their own business. You get unbiased advice, you get personal experience, and you certainly will have the opportunity to give back to the youth, give back to those, your peers who may be going through different stages in their business for the first time, and really appreciate an honest, unbiased opinion of how they may be able to move forward.